Hello, everybody. My name is John Ughulu, and I am so excited to be speaking to you. Today, we have another episode of The Morale Booster with John Ughulu. And with me today is a very important guest, a guest who has a lot of life experiences to share, experiences that would resonate with a lot of people today. And her name is Fernanda Torres. Fernanda Torres is the host of Positive Blueprints podcast. And she's here to tell us all she has been through. She's here to share with us her experiences and also to teach us how to move to the next level if for any reason we are going through what she has been through in life. Fernanda, thank you for joining me on the program.
John, thank you so much for the invite. I am so happy to be here and ready to share anything that I can for the audience.
My pleasure, absolutely. So Fernanda, before I really allow you to talk a lot about yourself and who you are, I'd like to remind those people who are currently watching this program via YouTube and those who are listening to the program via podcast. So please remember to share this video because you might be saving the life of that one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear this message. A lot of people are out there waiting to just hear one message that would help them activate the same part of them. And please remember, share this video on all your networks. So Fernanda, thank you for joining me on the program. My viewers and my listeners are eager to know who you are and what you do. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, thank you, John. So just like John said, my name is Fernanda, and I am an advanced practice registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 10 years, an advanced practice registered nurse for 5. And I currently am the host of the Positive Blueprints podcast. I also have another podcast that I co-host with a chiropractor and nutritionist. And that is the Wellness Wednesday Inspiration, which goes live on Facebook at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday. And I am in a mission to transform people's lives in regards to health and wellness and overall well-being. But my approach to it is through mind, body, and soul connection, because I truly believe that the person, it's a whole, and you cannot separate individual systems. In order for us to achieve wellness, we have to consider the whole person again as a whole.
That's awesome. So basically, you made mention of being a registered nurse for 10 years and an advanced registered nurse for 5 years. What does advanced registered nurse mean, first of all?
Yes. So when you are a nurse with a bachelor's degree, you can go and get your master's degree. And when you go get your master's, you have the option to specialize. And of course, it takes more education, more training, more years of school. And you can pick on different specialties. You can do education, you can do administration, you can do anesthesia, you can do nurse practitioner, you can do clinical, you can do so many different things. When I was ready to specialize, when I was ready to go for my master's degree, I went the nurse practitioner route, which basically means that we have special training. We can diagnose, treat, and basically any condition. So we do what a doctor does. We do the same role. We work in clinics and hospitals. We see patients in consults.
Right.
And we basically just diagnose and treat any conditions just like any other doctor would.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So is that what they also call the nurse practitioner?
Yes, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yes.
Okay. I know I've heard about nurse practitioner, but this advanced RN, it's the first time I am hearing about that.
That's the formal title, but most commonly you don't say, oh, I'm an advanced practice registered nurse. You just said I'm a nurse practitioner. But it's a little bit easier.
Okay, that's good. We learn every day. I love to learn.
Yes.
All right. So you talked about being a holistic life coach. So basically, you work with people to identify and eliminate limiting beliefs in their lives, right? Because one thing I've come to realize in life is that a lot of people have certain setbacks, certain belief systems that makes them feel that they cannot achieve their goals. for example, I've had people who have blamed their upbringing on, the level they are at the moment. When you ask them why they are not striving harder to become better, they will tell you that based on what happened to them in the past, it gives them that shallow mindset mentality. So what's your advice to people like that?
Yes, and that's a very good point, John, because the thing of it is everything and any decision that we make, most of us, we make it based on life experiences that we've had in our past. Right. So that means that we are literally just limiting our scope and limiting our decisions and opportunities for the future and what could be possible for us in terms of our lives and our health based on what we've encountered in the past. And the point is that if you've lived in a family that is sick and is dealing with a lot of diseases and illnesses, then you start to believe that that's going to be your reality. Right. So I do encounter a lot of times patients that come to me and say, my mom had diabetes by the age of 40, so I know that I'm going to be a diabetic. Or my father died of a heart attack at the age of 50, so I'm concerned that I'm going to have a heart attack. So what I say, and this is where a lot of the mindset comes into it, is because somebody else had it doesn't mean that you're going to have it. Right. The reason why those people have those conditions is because of their life experiences, because of their decisions, because their thoughts and their emotions. But if you're thinking different, if you're making different decisions in your life, it doesn't have to become your reality, no matter how many people in your family had the same condition.
Right. That's a good one. I like that spirit because, yes, a lot of people feel there is something called a generational curse that cannot be broken. Yeah. But if you're listening to this program right now, it's still Fernanda Torres in the building. She's a woman with so much experience. You are hearing from another person that generational curses, generational illnesses, all can be broken.
They can.
Yes. Right? Yes. So you must not allow those things hold you back. Just make plans and start living the life. Then when things happen, you can now start thinking of ways on how to go about that. Am I right, Fernanda?
Yes. And the thing is, if we start realizing that everything that we have as a point of reference is anything that we've experienced in the past, but there is so many other opportunities and so many different options for us out there. And unless we're able to stop looking in the rearview mirror for any decision and start looking at the possibilities, even if it's nothing that we've encountered so far to life, then we start realizing the potentials that we have for our lives. And again, this applies for anything. Of course, I specialize in health because of my background, but this applies for anything that we want to achieve, any life goal, any dreams, any goals that we have, anything in life.
Right. That's good. I like what you just said. You said we have to stop looking at rear views or problems. Instead, we should start looking at possibilities. Mm-hmm. Possibilities are paramount. So Fernanda is telling us that whatever you're going through, it's not new. It's not, you are not the only person who has been there. A lot of people have been through worse, but don't dwell on the bad part. Don't dwell on things that will hold you down. Look past that problem and look for solutions. Don't cry over spilled milk, but rather look for solutions. Is that correct?
And the thing is, most of us, when something bad happens to us, if we become sick, or if we lose our job, or if we are in an accident, for instance, or something happens in our lives, then we spend so much time just dwelling on those things that happen. Yeah. And we are always asking, why me? Why did it have to happen to me? And why? And then we're lamenting, and we're so busy lamenting that many times we miss the opportunities that are coming to us. Right. And I've always been a firm believer that if something is happening to you, whether you perceive it to be positive or negative, it's happening for a reason. There is always a lesson attached to anything that happens. And if it's something negative, then it means that it's something that you have to learn from and grow from. Right. To become better and to do something bigger in your life, and not to let it overcome you in despair and just literally let it limit your life on that sense.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's a good one, Fernanda. So now you've had several childhood experiences that, you know, if you were to be myopic in your thinking, or if you were to be that normal person, those would have held you back. But instead, they propelled you. They acted as a fuel for your career. They gave you a drive. Would you like to share a bit of all that so that my listeners can hear?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Colombia, South America. When I migrated to the United States, it was a very hard time. I did not speak the language. I was 13 years old and I was bullied a lot in school.
Yeah, how old? 30 or
13?
13, okay.
13. Mm-hmm. And I came from a female-only school in Colombia. It was actually a Catholic school. And coming to the States and being in a both gender school and all of these things, it was a completely different experience. It was a culture shock, and that culture shock lasted for a while. At the age of 17, I became pregnant. I found out that I was pregnant, and it was an accidental pregnancy. And when I was hoping for the support of my parents turned their backs on me. And they basically said that I was going to become a statistic, that I was never going to be able to accomplish anything in my life, and that I had ruined my life and my future. And it was at that point that I said, it's not going to happen to me, because I have a why now. You know, I have a child that I need to bring into this world. And I promised myself in that moment that I was never going to allow poverty or welfare or any of the statistics to become my reality. I was going to create a different reality for my life. And so instead of letting that circumstance limit me and my potential and my opportunities, it propelled me. And it literally ignited my fuel to go and do something bigger for me and for my child. And so far, I can say that everything that I had dreamed about and any goal that I had set for myself, I've been able to accomplish.
Oh, that's great. That's a good story. And I am glad you were able to get over it. I am glad you were able to push yourself. Now, if you're listening to this program, Fernanda got into the United States at 13. She couldn't speak English. And there's so many people out there who this story resonates with. A lot of people who feel having an accent is a hurdle, is a challenge. Trust me, it is not. The only challenge you have are the limits you would put on yourself. She came in, no English, and she forced herself to make sure things happen. At 17, she got pregnant. Her parents turned their backs on her, thinking she would be a statistics. And I know so many people out there have been through the same. Mm-hmm. But Fernanda, as a fighter, the lioness that she is, she didn't allow those things weigh her down. Fernanda, I need you to please talk to those. There are so many people who need to hear this, who need to be reassured that no matter what life throws at them, it is possible for them to rise above it.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes. And as long as you believe that you can do anything, whether you believe that you can do something or you can't do something, you're right. Yes. So believing in yourself is the first part. And if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else will believe in you. You have to sell yourself as a person every single day of your life. Okay. Whether you believe that you are a salesperson or not, you're selling your image, you're selling yourself, you're selling your story, you're selling everything about you every day with your family, with your friends, at your work, at your school, whatever you're doing, right? You want to sell a certain appearance about you so people want to engage in business with you. Right. So if you believe in yourself, then you already have, in my opinion, more than 50% of the battle won. Because if you believe it, then you can do it. And that's the reality of things. And the problem with people is that they believe that it's possible for everybody else because somebody else may get lucky, quote unquote, but they don't have that luck.
Yes.
And my take on that is always give yourself more benefit of the doubt. Why instead of saying it's not possible for me, say it's going to work and it's going to work great. And I am going to excel and I am going to be the best that I can be. Why not talk to us in those terms? And the reason why we don't do it is because we're not accustomed to it. Right. We're accustomed to telling everybody else how wonderful they are. But when it comes to us, we judge ourselves very harshly. So if we change that inner conversation and we start looking at ourselves in the mirror and we start saying how wonderful we are, how smart we are, how we're working towards our goals and how much closer we are to our goals and all of these things, then little by little, that gets into our subconscious mind and we start actually believing in ourselves. Right. So even if at the beginning it feels like a fraud, you feel strange because you don't believe in yourself, then keep doing it. Because little by little, you will start getting those beliefs into your subconscious mind. And once they're in your subconscious mind, then literally it's like a computer system. It's like that automatic system that is going to propel you to be able to achieve anything that you want to do in life.
That's great. I like that. I love that so much. So basically, Fernanda is telling us to be optimistic. Now, we are, as humans, we are good at telling other people to feel good. But when it comes to us, it might be challenging. So today, as you're listening, I want you to take this as an opportunity to readjust your mindset. That's what Fernanda is just advising us. That's how she went through the challenges in life. So readjust your mindset. Be intentional about the things you absorb. Be intentional about the things that you allow go into your system. It's just like a GPS system, navigation. If you put an address, it will give you an estimated time of arrival, and it will lead you to that address. If for any reason you miss your exit, it will reroute and realign. So that's how your mindset should be. Always learn to be optimistic. Learn to program your mind with the things you want in life. Am I right, Fernanda?
Yes. And you mentioned the GPS, and that's very important because that's your goal for life. And if you have a goal, you have a direction. Right. But not only that, if you want to go, I live in Arizona. If I wanted to go and drive up to you live in Atlanta, and I put it in my map, and it tells me, for example, that it's 20 hours. I don't know how long it is, but it tells me 20 hours. Right. I'm not going to drive 10 hours and say, you know what? It's still 10 more hours. Let me just turn around and do it all over again tomorrow. Right. No, you're going to keep driving no matter if the road is high, it's low, if there is mountain, if there is rain, if there is snow. If you have a goal, if you have a destination, no matter how tough the road gets, you're going to keep pushing, because every time that you drive an extra mile, then it's that extra mile that you're closer to your final destination.
Right.
But if we don't have a final destination, then we're going to be like, okay, let me turn right over here because it's raining. Let me turn left over here because it's snowing. And then when you look back, you're like, okay, I'm not even close to Atlanta. I'm like in Canada now. So
yeah, you get confused about the whole thing. Yes, you have to be intentional about your goals, your dreams, your visions, and you must back it up with action. You must back it up with action.
I mean, if you put a direction in your GPS and you don't start driving, you're no matter how much clear the direction is in your GPS, you're not getting there.
Absolutely, that's true, Fernanda. Thank you so much for that. So, Fernanda, can you please tell me why? Because nursing is a lucrative career. So can you please tell me why you chose coaching?
Yes. So the reason why it started is because I was dealing with my own personal challenges. I would say a few years ago, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression. And being in the medical field, I would go to my colleagues and for those problems, and they would prescribe me medication. So it got to the point where I was taking 3 different medications, 2 for anxiety and depression, and 1 for the side effects of anxiety and depression. And I wasn't feeling any better. It would get to become a little bit stable, and then I would feel bad again. And it would go every single day of my life.
Right.
So after dealing with those issues for, I want to say close to 4 or 5 years, one day I was driving to work and I heard like something here saying, you're a hypocrite. And how I took it is, I'm driving to work to help people get better, feel healthier, but I'm feeling so unhealthy myself. So how does that apply? And I asked out loud, like, what else can I do to feel better? You know, I was doing the counseling, I was doing therapy, I was taking these medications, I was dancing. Dancing has always been a therapy for me. I was looking for support with anybody that I could, but I wasn't feeling better. So what else can I do? And as I was driving back from work the same day, a video came on my cell phone that was The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Okay.
And I've never heard of personal development before. I have never heard of any of those videos or any of those people before ever. That was completely unknown to me. And when I listened to that video, something resonated with me and said, basically what I interpreted was, I am self-made.
Yes.
And the reason why I'm feeling this way is because I have allowed myself to feel this way. I created this depression. I created this anxiety, and I can't blame anybody else but me. And that's what I was doing. I was blaming everything else but me, right?
Yes.
So after listening to this video, I, of course, started reading more and investigating more and listening to more videos. And I came across Les Brown, and I came across Bob Proctor, and I came across Joe Dispenza, and I came across all of these phenomenal speakers, motivational speakers, doctors, scientists, and more. And I started learning more about what the mind does and how the mind functions.
Yeah.
And the more that I learned, the more that I understood that a lot of the common conditions that we're dealing with, things like autoimmune diseases, things like cancers, things like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and so many other conditions that are pandemics currently worldwide, all of them start with the thoughts that we have in our
process. Mind. Exactly.
Right. Because the thoughts lead us to the actions that we take. So if we're smoking, if we're drinking, if we're overeating, if we're not exercising, it all starts with the thoughts that we have. Yeah. And it comes out as an action. Of course, the thoughts have a feeling attached to it. The feeling sends a signal to the body. The body responds to that signal. It provokes an action. And then the action is what basically leads up to the result that you're obtaining.
Right.
So when I understood that, and I really understood that, I applied it in my life. John, it wasn't long before I was able to get off of all of my medications, before I could say, I don't even know what depression and anxiety is, because I don't feel that way anymore.
Right.
And then I started applying those same concepts with my patients and my clients. And I was able to replicate the same thing, as long as you understand how your thoughts basically are the root cause of most of the conditions and most of the situations, not only in health, in life in general, that are keeping you stuck. Then we can alter the thoughts and we can obtain a different result.
Absolutely. You know, I have a cousin that has lupus. She's a niece. She has lupus. And it only started lately, like recently. But I came to realize that she was always thinking about, how to become, she wants to be a medical doctor. And the parents do not have that luxury of money to send her to school. So she's always thinking of it. And whenever she thinks of all those things, it affects her. Then her attack comes in. So what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense. For all those people who are going through things like lupus, anxiety, depression, please remember, your thought process affects your body system. So you must learn to control the things you absorb. You must learn to be positive all the time. Because right now we're going through tough times. The level of depression has increased. The level of anxiety has increased. So we all need this message. This message is very important. Am I right, Fernanda?
Oh my God, it's life-changing and life-saving. It changed and transformed my life completely. And I believe that if anybody could understand the power of our thoughts, and we were more aware of the thoughts and how we can change those thoughts instantaneously. That's another thing that I never understood before, John. I knew that I was feeling that way. I knew that I was depressed. I knew that my thoughts were racing, but I failed to understand that I could change the thoughts. Like you can change a radio station, like you can change the TV channel. If you don't like what is showing, you can change it, right? Yeah. So if you're having these thoughts of, oh, I'm stressed, I'm sick, I don't feel good, my back is killing me, I can't walk, I'm going to become a diabetic, I'm worried about my health, all of these things, or I can't achieve my life, my dream goals for life, or everybody else has better luck than me. Whatever thoughts you have that are not serving you a good purpose, just change them, and you can do it. Only you can do it. I cannot go into somebody else's head and change the thoughts, but you can do it yourself. You can change your thoughts, and you can do it instantaneously. And every time you have a thought, it sends, it's attached to an emotion, right? And if you have a positive thought, then you have a positive emotion attached to it. But if you have a negative thought, then it's a negative emotion that is attached to it. Emotions like fear, emotions like anger, emotions like frustration, like jealousy, or way more emotions, right? And every time we have a negative emotion, it sends a signal to our cells, to every single one of our cells, down to the DNA of the cells. And when the DNA receives this negative emotion, it turns off.
Yes.
So every time we're having a negative emotion, we're turning off our DNA. And with time, these negative emotions, again, over time, it doesn't happen overnight, but over time, they cause disease.
True. I like this. You see, I didn't plan for this topic, but this is very vital. If you're listening to this program via podcast and watching via YouTube, please remember to share this video to all the networks you belong to, because you might just be saving the life of that one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear this message. Please, and promise me you will share. I know you guys will share it. Thank you. Fernanda, that's very powerful. So now, where do you see your business in the next 5 years?
So the way that I see things going, I want to be globally known in the science of wellness and health. I want to be able to get this message across to people from all over the world, because it's needed. And the fact that I was a medical provider, I was at that point a nurse practitioner, and I didn't know anything about this, the power of the mind and how it affects health. That tells me that there are so many people out there, no matter the level of education that you have, or the career choice, or where you are in life. I was already upper 20s, I think, when I came across this content, and I applied it in my life. So no matter how old you are, what kind of job you have or anything, if you don't know these things, then of course you can apply them.
Yes.
So bringing awareness is the main thing. And my goal is to bring awareness worldwide, because I know that it's life-changing, it's transformational, and it can save literally so many lives.
That's great. I love that. I like what you're doing. Keep shining your light, because we rise by lifting others. Yes, keep doing what you're doing. The world needs more of people like us right now, you and I, people who can make people understand the potentials, the powers they've got within themselves. I was just like you too. I never knew about motivational speaking. I never knew about how possible it was to be able to control your mood, to switch your mood from an unhappy mood to a happy mood. I never knew all that until I became a coach. So the world needs people like you more than ever before. And please don't stop.
I won't. I'm on a mission. When you have a why, you can bear almost any how, says Nietzsche. So I have my why, and my why is just having that life experience that I have and knowing how transformational it was. That became my why.
Right.
I want to be able to give the same experience and to transform lives the same way that my life was transformed by this same content. Now, none of this content is content that I'm creating. It's things that I have learned, that I have applied, that I know they work, because it's universal laws, because it's the way that humans are built, because it's our science, it's our DNA, it's our biology. So if we understand how we work, how we think, and how it affects us, then we can change and alter our lives.
That's correct. I love that. Like I said, if I ever hear that you stop doing this, I'll send you reminders. I'll say, Fernanda, you promised us you weren't going to stop, okay?
Let's do that. I won't disappoint.
Yes, accountability partners for life.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay, so how can people reach out to you? Can people just reach out randomly for help, or you have a selected clients you work with?
No, I work with anybody. I have a website. People can reach out to me at my website. The website is www.positiveblueprints.com, just like my podcast is. You can also listen to a lot of the episodes on the podcast. They're in the major podcasting platforms by looking for the podcast Positive Blueprints. A lot of this information is in the podcast. Okay. I share a lot of health tools and information about health in general and life in general. And then I also created a free book, and the book goes a lot in depth about the thoughts and emotions and health and wellness and goal setting and everything else. And that book can start transforming anybody's life today. And they can download the book at www.fernandacastaneda.com.
Okay, that's great, Fernanda. Thank you. And are you on any social media platform? Instagram, yes. LinkedIn? Yeah.
Yes. Instagram and Facebook under the handle @PositiveBlueprints.
Okay. All right. What about Facebook?
Facebook and Instagram, yes, at Positive Blueprints.
Okay. So if you are looking for, because right now, a lot of people might not believe it, but I am up to date when it comes to technology. Mm-hmm. Your Instagram and Facebook pages attract more people to you. People are more comfortable finding what they need on those platforms.
On social media, yes.
On social media. So if you are looking for any form of coaching from Fernanda Torres, she is on Facebook, she is on Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can search her with the name that is currently being displayed on the screen, send her a private message, and she will definitely reply you. Am I right, Fernanda?
Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody, anybody. Yeah. I am willing to help anybody because, again, I know that the information applies not only for health, applies for life, applies for anything that we want to do and accomplish in life, because ultimately how we think affects everything in our lives.
Yes, that's true. So I want to drop this quote for those people listening to this program via podcast and those watching via YouTube. Les Brown said, when life knocks you down, try to fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So let your reason get you back up. So today, if you do not have a reason for being alive, if you feel you have challenges that are way beyond your ability, I want you to know that your problems are not the greatest in the world. Every challenge has a solution. All you need is seek help when help is needed and seek help where help is needed. Fernanda Torres is your go-to person. If you're going through any form of limiting beliefs, reach out to her. If you feel you have too many ideas and no clear direction, reach out to her. Am I right, Fernanda?
Absolutely. You are 100% right, John.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much, Fernanda. Another reminder, please remember to share this video because you might be saving the life of one person who has been waiting for a lifetime to hear this message. So, Fernanda, I hope when next I call you on the program, you will honor my invitation.
Absolutely, John. I'm always game for anything that has to do with spreading this message. Again, I know that it's needed. Right. I know that it can change so many lives. So any opportunity that I get, I'm more than happy to do it.
Awesome. That's great. It was a pleasure having you as a guest. And trust me, you are a very interesting guest.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me on the program. So, guys, it's been a lovely time with Fernanda. I believe her story resonated with you. You've learned one or two things. And let's stay connected. Let's stay positive because that's the only way we can live a healthy life. Until the next episode, have a great rest of your day.